what your skin needs in your 30s, 40s, and beyond. If you spend any amount of time on social media, you've probably seen advice like this. If you're in your 30s, use this ingredient. If you're in your 40s, you need this. If you're over 50, stop using that. And while some of that advice can be helpful, I think it often oversimplifies something much more important. Because skin doesn't suddenly wake up on your 40th birthday and decides to behave differently. And two women of exactly the same age can have completely different skin needs. One may be struggling with dehydration, another with sensitivity, another with breakouts, another with loss of firmness. So today, rather than talking about trends or miracle ingredients, I want to talk about what your skin is actually asking for as it moves through different stages of life. Understanding your skin is far more powerful than following age-based rules. Hi, I'm Zaira, founder of NAYA Skincare. I'm also a nutritional therapist and certified face yoga teacher. And over the years, I've spent countless hours speaking with women about their skin. And one thing I've noticed is that many women think their skin is suddenly failing them. But often what's actually happening is that their skin's priorities simply have changed. The challenge is that nobody really explains what those priorities are. So let's talk about them today. Before we dive into different age groups, I think it's important to understand something. The first signs of skin aging are often not the ones we actually can see. Most people think aging begins with wrinkles, but in my experience, that's rarely the first thing women actually notice. The first thing they usually notice is that their skin behaves differently. Hydration doesn't last as long, their skin feels just tighter, recovery takes much longer, products don't seem to quite be as effective as they used to be, redness appears as well more easily, and the skin feels more reactive overall. And what's interesting is that all of these changes often begin before visible aging becomes a major concern actually, which is why I think we need to move the conversation away from wrinkles and towards skin function. Healthy skin isn't just skin that looks good, it's skin that actually functions well. Let's start with your 20s and early 30s. One thing that's remarkable about younger skin is how resilient it is. You can have a few nights of poor sleep, a stressful week, maybe you're not drinking enough water, you're traveling as well a lot, and your skin often bounces back surprisingly quickly. The reason is that younger skin generally recovers more efficiently. Collagen production is still relatively strong, barrier repair tends to be faster, cell turnover is just more efficient as well, and hydration systems, they are working really well still as well. In many ways, younger skin is incredibly forgiving. This is also why many people assume they have found their perfect routine. But sometimes what they're really experiencing is just youthful resilience, and their skin is compensating. It's doing a lot of the heavy lifting itself. So what does your skin need most during this stage? It needs protection, not perfection. Protecting your collagen, protecting barrier function, protecting against unnecessary inflammation, and overall protecting against UV damage. One of the biggest misconceptions in skincare is that anti-aging starts when wrinkles appear. In reality, many of the decisions that influence skin aging happen years earlier, and that's why I believe sunscreen is one of the most important skincare products anyone can use. Not because it magically reverses aging, but because it helps prevent unnecessary damage from accumulating in the first place. As we move into our mid-30s and 40s, things often begin to feel different. And this is where I see the most confusion. Women start to tell me, my skin suddenly feels dry. My skincare doesn't seem to work anymore quite as it used to be. I have become sensitive. My skin just looks tired. What do I do? And they often assume they have done something wrong, that they should have started retinol earlier, that they haven't invested enough in skincare, that they are somehow behind. But very often that's not what's actually happening at all. What they're experiencing is just simply biology. It is stress that we're experiencing on a daily basis. It's the hormonal shifts, years of environmental exposure, years of accumulated inflammation, years of imperfect sleep, or years of just simply being human. You're managing work, perhaps even children, relationships, financial pressures. You're managing all your emotions, and your skin has experienced all of that with you. And this is where the concept of resilience becomes incredibly important, because many of the changes women notice in their 40s are actually signs that the skin is becoming less resilient, because recovery takes just longer. Hydration escapes more easily. Inflammation becomes easier to trigger. The skin becomes a little bit less forgiving. And interestingly, this is often the stage where people start reaching for stronger products, stronger acids, stronger retinoids, more treatments, more correction. What I have learned over the years is that many women don't necessarily need more correction. They need more support. Support for barrier, support for hydration, support for recovery, support for being more resilient. The goal isn't just to stimulate the skin, it's to help it function optimally. And I think this is one of the biggest mindset shifts I have had as both a founder and a nutritional therapist. When I was younger, I was fascinated by ingredients, and I still am. Ingredients matter enormously and I love them. But today I am equally interested in how the skin functions, because if the skin isn't functioning well, even excellent products have limitations. Now let's talk about your 50s and beyond. This is often when hormonal changes become more significant. Many women notice that their skin becomes thinner, more drier, less elastic, but also a lot more reactive. And again, the instinct is often to fight these changes, to push harder, and to correct more aggressively. But I actually think this stage calls for something different. It is calling for comfort, nourishment, for repair, and for strategic support. And this doesn't mean giving up on results, far from it, but it does mean recognizing that healthy skin and resilient skin often age more beautifully than stressed skin. At this stage, barrier function becomes increasingly important. Lipids become increasingly important. Hydration becomes increasingly important. Recovery becomes increasingly important. The goal becomes supporting the skin you have today rather than chasing the skin you had 20 years ago. And I think that's much more empowering way to approach skincare. Now, here's the interesting part. Although your skin's priorities change throughout life, some things never really change. At every age, your skin benefits from protection, hydration, recovery, barrier support, inflammation management, and resilience. Those needs remain surprisingly constant. What changes is how much support they require. Start asking, what is my skin struggling with right now? Your skin doesn't know how old you are. Your skin responds to what's happening in your environment. It's reacting what's happening in your body and what's overall happening in your life. And when we start listening to those signals, skincare becomes much simpler. If there's one thing I'd love you to take away from this video, it's this. Your skin changing is not a sign that you are failing. It's a sign that you are a human being. Skin evolves. It needs to evolve. And our routines should evolve with it. The goal isn't to have the skin you had at 25. The goal is to have the healthiest, strongest, and most resilient version of your skin today. And in my experience, that's where the most beautiful results come. I'd love to know which stage resonated most with you. Have you noticed your skin changing over the years? What was the first change you noticed? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy thoughtful, science-backed conversation about skin health, longevity, and resilience, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!